Thea paused in the shadowed hallway outside the kitchen, glancing at the house's side door. No one in the kitchen could see her from here, and the side door was only a few paces away, almost close enough to touch. She could leave without anyone else in the house knowing she was gone. The temptation carried to her feet, and she almost took a step forward towards the door. But it would be rude to just go, and more importantly, unkind to her mother, who was expecting Thea to be at the lunch table. So instead of following her impulse to leave, Thea glanced down to double-check that she'd managed to get all the cat hair off her uniform. Gilbert seemed to have adopted her as his favourite person, and she kept finding finger-length tan and black hairs in her room and on her clothes. Today she'd managed to get rid of all evidence of him, so she squared her shoulders and took the necessary few steps away from the side door and into the kitchen. It was a large room, with shelves and cupboards scattered around walls, dominated by a large fireplace and stove. The centre taken up by a large wooden table with a scarred surface and mismatched chairs. It was normally a place of quiet and peace, unless her mother was trying a new recipe. Today it was too full of people, a near stranger at the head of the table where her mother usually sat. Hugh Goddard looked up as she came into the room, an ordinary-looking human male, somewhere in his middle years. He had a pleasant, unremarkable face, with slightly tanned skin, pale blue eyes and mid-brown hair. He looked absolutely harmless, but Thea had been wary of him since their first meeting a few weeks before, the instincts that had kept her safe growing up telling her to be careful. His mild expression slipped for a moment as he saw her. The slips had been happening more and more over the past few days. The veneer of a pleasant, gentle man gradually fading into something more like his sons. The sons, Ivor and David, were settled in chairs on either side of their father. In their late teens, they were not mature enough to have learned how to adopt their father's harmless veneer, and stared at her with flat, pale eyes. They were outwardly as unremarkable as their father, with similar blue eyes and mid-brown hair, although Hugh took care to ensure he was neat and tidy in his appearance. His sons still had some more to learn there. Then again, as far as Thea could tell, neither of them had jobs or any particular skills. She made a point of avoiding them even more than their father. Thea moved to kiss her mother's cheek before settling beside her at the other end of the table. Even sitting, Thea could see the top of her mother's head, the blonde hair piled into a serviceable knot with a few hairpins securing it out of the way. It seemed impossible that so delicate a woman could have produced Thea, who stood taller than most men.